Well, hello there, it's Rod Fleming here. Now, I know that I said I wasn't going to do much on autogynephilia, but in fact, I've been asked, so I'm trying to oblige people. Please remember, first of all, to like and subscribe, of course, but also remember that I do one-on-one counselling for autogynephilia, and if you want to fight autogynephilia, you're going to need a counsellor. You're going to need somebody to hold your hand. I've talked to an awful lot of people over the years, and it is essentially impossible to do it without help, especially in the modern world where you go to most counsellors and they'll just say, oh fine, we'll just give you some hormones. Obviously, you're trans. No, you're not. If you have autogynephilia, you have a fetish. You are not a woman. Can we make that quite clear? You are not a woman. I mean, you come here and you will see some of the most beautiful girls you've ever seen. And some of them are just stunning. And their performance of femininity is flawless. They're male. They're male and they come in both ways. We'll explain this another time. But some are homosexuals. Some of them actually are transvestites. Autogynephilic transvestites. But they all perform femininity to the point where you would not know. You just wouldn't. And they don't claim to be real women. So if people like that don't claim to be real women, I mean, what on earth are you doing? You're not real women. So, somebody asked, and I will try and do these in little snippets for you. Somebody asked, how does it all begin? Well, it's a very, very complicated question. There has been some research into the possibility of autogynephilia being a genetically caused, such that it runs in families, basically. But, there's no concrete evidence for this. It just, it's vague and it's just not convincing. Sorry. I know Ray Blanchard has done research on this and no. Yeah, you do sometimes see it, but it's not, we can't establish this as a general rule. In fact, my opinion is, and I've studied this a lot, that all men have the propensity to be autogynephilic if certain conditions are met in their early adolescence, right? All men. It's not like it runs in families or anything else like that. They can happen to anyone, but it requires a certain set of circumstances to occur in a crucial age range, and that age range is essentially between 11 and 15. And it times specifically with a thing we call the sperm arch, or Tanner stage 4. And to be blunt, that's when boys start masturbating. And most boys, they're rushing home after school to crack one off, and they've got, magazine, they've got their phone. There is just a ridiculous amount of porn available for nothing online these days, so, that's what they're doing. Now, based on a number of interviews, and obviously I can't identify people, but sometimes, it's not the only one, we talk about some of the others, but sometimes what happens is a specific item is like a trigger, bang, and that starts it. And the most common one is an item of ladies' underwear. Right? Yeah, I'm old-fashioned. I call them ladies, It's how I prefer my women. Anyway, one person, there's no identification happening here. One person, it was his mother's underwear. And he found this one day when he was alone, and and he just started to have these feelings, excitement, erotic excitement. And for a long time he thought he was homosexual. And this is very common. Because people don't understand that, they have these feelings and they go, well, what could I be? And the obvious one that comes up is, well, you're gay. And the gays, because they're determined to recruit everybody they can, they don't actually help here, And these people are not homosexuals. They're attracted to femininity, right? They just love femininity. It's a matter of coveting and becoming what you covet. Right? And we're going to go into that. So this person, that sparked his off. Another one, who's a girl here, is a friend of mine. I can't tell you name. She's a really lovely person. I'm very fond of her. And we were together one night. I think I've mentioned this, and she was with her friend. Her friend, because you can ask. People here are okay. You can ask. Asked her friend, well, what triggered you? How old were you? And she said, oh, I was always like this. I knew when I was 3 or 4 years old. I was wearing the towel on my head, to simulate long hair, and all that kind of stuff. Now, little boys and little girls here dress pretty much the same. I mean, they wear shorts and t-shirts. It's a very hot climate. People don't waste time dressing their kids up in lots of, gender-specific clothes. But here you are. Here's a sando and some shorts, okay? Because you're 4. If we're going to a party, we're going to a wedding, yeah, we'll put you in a dress if you're a girl, put you in smarter clothes if you're a boy. But for daily wear, they dress the same. So this first one, she's like, yeah, that was me, and that's so classic of the homosexual type. They are aware of themselves as girls, and they are really strongly attracted to men, particularly older men. Do not kid yourself here. They are nuts about older men. And men in uniform, of course. That's a really big one, But anyway, leaving that aside, I went and spoke to her friend, and her friend, who's lovely, she's a sweetheart. Was it like that with you? No. She says, I came home one day. This is her speaking. I came home from school one day, and I found a pair of my sister's underwear on the foam, which is like the mattress, and she was in the CR having a shower, but she'd left her underwear, which she'd just taken off, on the bed. And my correspondent said, it was like being hit by a train. It was just bang. She said she had never felt anything like it. It was overwhelming. And what she did, actually, was, and she had never done this before, she'd never self-pleasured herself before. She grabbed the underwear, and as soon as her sister was finished in the shower, she went, oh, I'm having a shower too. She went into the the comfort room, that's what we call the bathroom here, the comfort room, and jerked herself off. And she said it was like, I don't know if you can remember your first one, but I remember mine, and yeah, it was pretty impressive. Anywho, that's when it started. And she said, from that point on, I knew instantly what I was. I knew instantly I was a bakla, which is really the Tagalog word for ladyboy. It comes from babae, which is woman, and lalaki, which is man. So you get bakla, which really is like woman man. Just so you know, be careful how you say it. It can be said in two ways. One is a sort of soft way, and one is quite an aggressive way. And a lot of Tagalog depends on the inflection. They say the same thing 2 different ways, and one might get you a punch in the face, that sort of thing. So she said, from that point on, I wore girls' underwear every day underneath my school clothes. I could not do it. And as soon as I was a little older, I put a bra on under my shirt. And as soon as I got older, when I was old enough to leave school, I grew my hair. And she was taking hormones before she left school. She started taking hormones right away. She said, why would I wait? I know what I am. I'm a bakla. So let's try and analyse that, break it down a little bit for you. And so what seems to have happened, it's actually quite clear what happened, was that when my friend came home from school and she was 13 years old, she was very specific, I was 13. She's 13 years old, and she came and she saw her sister's underwear on the bed. She saw an erotic target. Okay? Her mind went something like, it created the girl that should be inside wearing the underwear, right? So that the idea of underwear and the idea of girl became united in her mind. Do you see what I'm saying here? Right? Now this is really important. So she then took the underwear, I'm presuming her sister's going, What the hell do you do? Where am I underwear go? Doesn't matter. She took the underwear, okay, and she put it on herself, and she went to the CR, you know, exploded. She'd never done it before, so it was like, wow, oh my God, you know, messy. Unfortunately, these CRs are basically wall to wall, you know, you can just hose it all down, so it's fine. Anyway, from that point on, she wore the underwear every single day. And she continued this practice of coming home, being thoroughly aroused, having worn this clothing all day, basically jerking off, and then repeating this day after day. And this absolutely confirmed in her mind what was going on. Reaffirmed, actually. Reaffirmed is a better word. You know, I'm a backler. And this, I'm getting more backla every day, and she's taking hormones, so she's getting, you know, she's a very attractive girl anyway. She's great bones, and so she's like, you know, I'm getting more and more. I'm a backla. That's it. Now, I think this is quite interesting. You know, in the West, something very similar happens. And, you know, these guys can run around lying about it all as much as they like. It doesn't make any damn difference. Something like this does happen. I mean, you know, the number of men in the West who are walking around right now wearing nylons under their trousers, or underwear, you know, ladies, underwear under their trousers, gold zame knickers or bras or anything else like that. I mean, it's a lot, but they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. And to be honest with you, if they're able to control everything doing that, well, you know, it's nobody else's business, you know, it's fine, do what you like, it's a free world, well, it used to be. It's when they start to experience mental problems over it that we have to be concerned, for them, mainly. But this idea of this object representing, you know, the erotic target, the girl, so that what happened when my friend took the underwear, right, took it off, and she put it on, because the underwear created a girl, right? So when she put the underwear on, she became a girl herself. Do you understand that? It's like, flip. It's like, you remember that film, The Mask, with that Canadian actor, I can't remember his name. A very good film, very good actor. Where he puts the mask on and it changed completely. And this is exactly what happened with this person that she put on the underwear. That's it, I'm a girl, I'm a backla. I'm not the same person, I'm someone else. And that was all because of the talismanic effect of the underwear. Right, so if you have been in this position that, you know, these things have happened to you, then the first thing to say is you're not alone. This is very common. It's, we don't know if it's getting more common. What we can say is it's getting more evident. There's more apparent ones out there, even if they're not actually more. It does seem that there are actually more, but there is absolutely no statistical research available to confirm or deny that. It's just a question of we tend to see them more, particularly because of social media, you know. So now my friend, by the way, she's now 26 or 27, I can't quite remember. One of those 26, the other 27. And she's a beautiful girl. She really is a very beautiful girl and incredibly feminine. I mean, you would never know. You meet these girls and you go, yeah, it's a girl, what's the big deal, you know? And because of that, she's getting affirmation. Now, she's Asian, right? She's a Filipina. So she's the first person I talked about is a European and definitely could not get away as a girl. So he was like, no, can't do that. But this girl, she's Filipina. She has really nice bone structure. Very, you know, they have incredible skin. It's so fine. She has beautiful soft eyes, lovely lips and all that. And she has those anyway, you know, because she's from this ethnicity. And so for her to turn herself into a very passing, I mean 100% passing, very convincing girl, we won't call her a woman because we're not getting into that argument, feminists, no, into a girl, a representation of a girl if you like, is easy for her. And of course what then happens is she gets affirmed. People call her, they don't misgender her, they call her her. Naturally, she doesn't have to go out and tell people, oh hey, don't call me that. I mean, nobody would even think about calling her sir, unless they were, deliberately being nasty, which never happens here. Well, it has happened, I've seen it happen, but it's rare. It's rare because face is very important in Asian cultures. It's not allowed for you to mock another person and cause them loss of face. If you do that, you're being offensive and insulting, right? And people do not like that. They do not appreciate it. Don't do it here. Do not do it. I mean, it does happen. Some people just feel so strongly that they're assholes about it. There's assholes everywhere. But in my 12 years visiting and living in the Philippines, I have seen that kind of thing three, maybe four times. And two of them, the girl, it was my first ladyboy girlfriend here, she's the same height as me, 5'10". The average height for a woman in the Philippines is 5 foot. So she's kind of clocked pretty quickly. It's like, yeah, right. That didn't excuse the behaviour, by the way. But it's easy to see how people go, yeah, okay. But most, even with her, every other exchange we had with people outside our little couple, they were completely like, yeah, madam. Not a problem. So that affirmation feeds back to the sense of identity. It doesn't matter what you identify as. It's just irrelevant. What matters is what other people identify you as. So if other people are identifying you as a girl, or at least, they're prepared to go along with this, then you get the reward, you get the affirmation. It's like, yeah, that's great, I am. And so that is, self-reinforcing. The effect of wearing the underwear, which you've obviously always got on, or whatever it is, the bra or whatever other, object it was. Sometimes it's something more simple, I've seen people say that, it was a ring. I picked up this ring and I put the ring on, so suddenly I was like, oh. And yeah, it's like, I think it took me a very long time to try to understand this, because I'm a civilian. I don't have autogynephilia. I just try really hard to put myself inside the minds of people who do, and to try to understand what is going on. And I hope by doing that I can help. I mean, for someone in Southeast Asia, right, someone like my friend, the best thing she could possibly have done is exactly what she did do. She went, I'm 13, I'm a bachelor, that's it. Give me the pills. And that has made, now she's a very content, well-adjusted, happy young girl, 27, whatever. She has a good job. It's fine. She's navigating society comfortably. She's not stressed out. She's not neurotic. She doesn't have psychoses or neuroses. She's just cool. It's fine. And that was the right thing for her to do. You call me whatever you like, but it's true. It was the right thing for her to do. Nobody tried to talk her out of it. And if they had, it was probably a waste of time anyway. In the West, it's not like that, because there isn't the tolerance. I mean, here's extremely, the whole of Southeast Asia is really tolerant. They don't really care. Fathers will get, fathers here, they invest heavily in their sons, and they're very macho. So it's like, they want their son to be, macho man and that stuff. And they can react very, very badly to a son who is feminine. And they can be violent. I mean, I've seen the scars. It's not nice. It's really not nice. There's maybe so maybe things are changing, but there was a time not so very long ago when men thought it was quite alright to whip these little boys for being girly. Which, no, I'm not approving of that. No how, no here, no where, no how. But it happened. But the mothers tend to be completely, oh, okay, so what? Yeah, okay. So we got another girl in the family, so what? And they carry on. And there's a very interesting thing happens, which is kind of like, it's like a kind of Stockholm syndrome. It's very interesting that this is a bit of an aside, but what will happen often in these particular cases is that the boy, who's whatever age, 4, 5, 6, I mean, men will not get violent with a 15-year-old. You might well just whack them back, They know their limits. But it's 4 or 5, yeah, they beat the crap out of them. It's terrible, but they do. But what will happen is that the boy will provoke his father to violence. And then he'll go running to mummy. Oh, mum, oh, he smacked me again, with that slipper, that flip-flop. He smacked me. And of course, mum is just like, come here, gives him a big cuddle. It's all right. You're going to be okay. It's all right. It's okay. Direct access to mother's love. Right? It's plugged into the mains. And that's one of the things that they like, because it's affirmation. So, mummy loves me so much. Now, okay, so now you're a mummy's boy, but you wear that anyway because you're a buckler. And like I say, the culture is so different here. The culture in the West is really, 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 it's not just homophobic. Sorry, there's a baby across the road and it's got some fucking pair of lungs on her. It's not just homophobic and transphobic. I mean, it's horrible, a horrible, horrible culture. Depressingly ugly. That's the truth. And here it's not depressingly ugly at all. It's like, fuck it, you want to do that, do it. You want to be a beautiful girl, why not? If you're any good at it, people will reward you. They'll applaud you. They'll pay you to be a beautiful girl. Anyway, so what I'm talking about here is the idea that a specific object can cause this kind of flip in the psyche, which identifies the self with what that object signifies. So that would be, as I said, underwear signifies girl. If I put the underwear on myself, I become the girl. And what happens there is that person has just become his own erotic target. Right? That is your erotic target location error. Except for him, it's not an error at all. It's perfectly normal. He's wearing he's wearing the magic pants, and they've turned him into a girl. That's it. Like I said, it's like the mask. It's the same idea of a change in identity being caused by this talismanic object. There are other things that have happened. Others that I have spoken to. An absolutely famous one that happens all the time, people will talk about it, is playing with their bottoms. Sorry, Americans can leave now. They don't like me talking about this, but that's what they do. You have to remember that Asians don't sit on toilets and they don't use toilet paper. They wash with soap and water. And they usually squat. I mean, I'm too old. I used to be able to do it. I can't do it anymore. My knees are giving out. But they squat on the toilet, and so that gives them access, and they wash, with soap and water, and usually with a thing called a bum gun, a bidet attachment, which allows really thorough cleaning of the area. This is a tropical climate. If you're not really squeaky clean down there, it's not nice. You smell and you feel sticky and icky and it's ugh. But washing yourself several times a day like that, you keep real fresh and it feels good. So I say to any traveller, by the way, learn this hack. Don't be one of these stupid Yanks that's walking around with a suitcase, a rucksack absolutely full of toilet paper. I mean, what's the fucking point? All you're going to do is block the hotel's drains up. They're not designed for that. The drains here are like this. They're 50 mil, 2 inch. There's no way they can take your great wads of toilet paper. Wash like a civilized person, and you will smell better. The girls will tell you. They will. Leaving that one aside. because they spend so much time playing with the bottoms, cleaning them, you know, it's just such a common thing that I've been speaking to a bakla, and she said, I was on the toilet and I was cleaning myself, and I just slipped a finger in, and it was like, oh, that's nice. Ooh, that feels really good. You know, and she played for them, and she would say, oh, you know, it just gets more and more intense. And usually they'll actually have an orgasm like that, an anal one. And that's it. See, it's the same thing. They'll go, okay, right, so I'm a bachelor. That's it. And they'll continue to do this. And they'll use they'll use the fingers, but also various items of household equipment, like a surprising number have said that the handle of a house painter's paintbrush, you know what they're like, is ideal. It's perfect, and they love it. And a lot of them have got toys like that, or paintbrushes that they use all the time. And that's what their trigger was. You know, they were just sitting playing with themselves one day, and I wonder what it feels like. You know, busy washing myself, and you know, a soapy finger slipped up, and I went, oh, well, that wasn't unpleasant. I must be a backler. And that's really what happens. You know, that is really, people ask why there are so many ladyboys or backlers in the Philippines, and these are the reasons why. But talking about the autogynephilia, I mean, using toys can definitely provoke autogynephilia, because what you want to do is you want to have sex the way women have sex, which is to say that you get penetrated. And that then will lead you from that point to the dressing. You know, it doesn't always work the other way around. I mean, most people who started off by dressing, eventually they will get themselves the decorator's paintbrush, don't worry about it. But it also works the other way around. And so there's quite a few things that can do this, that can be that trigger. I've used a specific example of the underwear and the paintbrush, but there's loads and loads of things that just cause people to twing, that's it. You know, I mean, dancing. A lot of it is they dance, you know. They're in dance troupes, and the next thing they know, it's like, I feel like a girl. Oh, maybe I'm a girl. Oh, well, let me see your backla. That's it. And it's done. You know, they've done it, that's it. One person I know, and she said, well, you know, she's very petite. There's a lot of Chinese in her, and she's really pretty. I mean, she's like one of those, you know, China cops. You know, it's so delicate and lovely. She's backla, right? She's male. But she said, I haven't seen it, but she said, oh, I got a really small dick, tiny. So what was I going to do? I mean, the girls would laugh at me. So I just thought, fuck it, I became a girl myself. It's fine, you know. So she has become autogynephilic through that sort of idea that this allows her access to sex. Now, okay, so now she's being sexually recipient and she's having sex with men, but it would appear that she has no problem with this. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. It works, feels good. That's all I ask. I feel great, you know. And there, you know, I wrote this once, you know, that there's the affirmation that comes from being in bed with someone, with a lover, you know, and it's more than just. I mean, the Americans are totally fucked up. It's a terrible culture that's completely ruined, and you know, they can't see anything in nuanced terms at all. It's just like, it's so brazenly Apollonian, you know, and you have to be a little bit Dionysian to get along with cultures like this, you know, because people have got to say, well, I'm a girl, but you have a penis. Oh yeah, I said, well, you can still stick it in me. Because remember, as the Arabs say, and they do, well, at least one of the hadith, the anus is referred to as the female organ. Now I wonder how that happened. Which leads me to another trigger for autogynephilia. And you might think that this triggered homosexuality, but only at, only at a remove. And that is that there's no girls available here. If you're a teenager, no. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe they are slightly more available than they used to be, but no, in general terms, girls are off limits. What are young boys going to do? They're going to play with each other. You can scream and shout and tell them not to as much as you like, but that's what they're going to do. That's what they do here. And sooner or later, one of the smaller, cuter ones is going to get one of the larger, more masculine ones inserted up his bum. Okay? And if he likes it, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to go, oh, that's good fun. Okay, I'm a battler now. Better get a dress. Follow what I'm saying. So from the point of view of someone in the West trying to fight it, it's very, very, very difficult, because first you have to identify your trigger. What was it that set you off in the first place? And then you have to try and work back from that to try and find a way around it, to try and defeat it. You've already established it, remember? It's in your head, it's established. You took the underwear, you put it on, you had a jerk, bang, it's established. You've done that, you've established the erotic target. Getting rid of it is a huge job, and you will not be able to do it without help. That's my experience, certainly, talking to many, many, many men, that what will happen is they try and do it alone, they crash and burn. So you have to be really serious about wanting to get rid of it. I mean, I would never suggest anyone here to do that. I would say, Frank, carry on, Nobody here gives a shit. But in the West, they do. And it might have serious consequences for your entire life. Especially if you happen to be married. So, because what will happen is that by the way, what happens is that the actual event that actually happened to you, you were still 13 or 14. It was when you first masturbated. That's when the crossed wire occurred. But you've been suppressing it for the last 25 years. Suppression doesn't work. And suddenly, kabadoom, you've got a wife, 4 kids, a mortgage, like a decent job, all the rest of it, and it's all going out the window because you suddenly go, oh, I'm a girl. What have I been doing? You need help. If you're one of those people, you really, really do need help. Because the emotions and the feelings that we're talking about are so powerful. They're devastating. And like I say, I'm not autogynephilic. But I have studied this long enough, and I've spoken to enough people, and I am actually, people may not think so, but I'm a very empathetic person, and I've been able to get inside these people's heads and to an extent feel what they've been feeling. And yeah, I mean, they're devastated by this. It's like, I've just lost control. I've completely lost control. On social media, I'm quite, don't do it, stop it. And I'm quite harsh. It's because, I mean, I'm not harsh in person to person, I will try to help. But if you are in the West and you're married and you have kids and you have a car and you have a fucking mortgage and all the rest of it, no, for you this is a very bad idea. It really is a very bad idea. There's a noisy fucker out there with a motorbike. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. But this is what we need to talk about. You need to think about when you're thinking about these things. If you're thinking about it happened to you, try and identify what it was. What was that moment when you first did it? And it will be something like underwear, dildo, just your fingers, paintbrush handle, picture of yourself, you went dancing, dressed up in women's clothes, turned you on, a load of other things that could happen. But you have to identify exactly what it was. And then we can start to dismantle it, to deconstruct what has happened. And it's not going to be easy. I mean, a lot of people will say, don't try. Some people will say it's dangerous to try. I mean, that's bullshit. But if you're a man and you want to be a man, then you have to be masculine. Right? I'm working on another thing just now about Rome. And you'll see what I'm talking about here. But being masculine means understanding restraint. That's the main thing. That, you know, you have some feelings, okay. That doesn't mean you're going to dress up as a bloody beauty queen when you're 45 years old and, you know, 60 pounds overweight. It's not, no. Being masculine is saying, no, I am in enough control of my life that I don't do things like that. Right? Yeah. And you have to be masculine to be a man. Don't believe any of that crap that you'll get from the left. being a man is just being an adult male. Like, fuck it is. You have to be masculine. Any Roman would tell you that. Anyone. Any Greek would tell you that. In fact, they'd laugh at you harder. As the wonderful Sir Richard Burton said, the Greeks would have specimened such attitudes in Attic salt. He was right. Anyway, take care of yourself. Hope that was entertaining. Bye 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 bye.